I think the biggest problem with the relationship that forms between for sale by owners and realtors is that both parties have really distorted views of the other party's point of view. Realtors think that for sale by owners are ridiculous. I mean, these people don't know how to price their property. You're never going to get that, and you don't know how to market your property. I'm a professional. Why wouldn't you just go with a realtor? You can't do this on your own. And yet we have for sale by owners who think that realtors just don't provide any value. If they do provide value, they don't provide enough value for me to pay X amount to them for the services that they provide. The problem with that is that both sides are wrong. For sale by owners are not the enemy. These are people these are the DIYers. These are the people that think, if I want it done right, then I have to do it myself. I am so wholeheartedly supportive of that because that is so me. I'll do it. Even if it's something I really shouldn't have my hands in, I don't know anything about it, I am totally committed to figuring it out. I'll do it. They're coming from a very different place in their minds. I think a lot of realtors get their egos hurt. They're rejecting me. They're rejecting the services that I provide. They're rejecting, I've got all these reviews, these people love me. And the fact is, that's just not what's happening. They're just doing what they think is best. They're thinking very logically, like, hey, I want to net the most money for my house, and therefore, if I eliminate having to pay a listing agent because I do it myself, well, then I make more money. I mean, it makes perfect sense, right? The for sale by owners have plenty of misconceptions of their own. Most realtors provide a plethora of value from the service they provide, the strategies that they use, their contracts, and their neighborhood knowledge. I mean, even if they have none of those skills, they have access to tools and resources that the typical homeowner just doesn't have. What you end up with at the end of the day is two diametrically opposed parties who actually have quite a bit to offer one another. Clearly I'm biased. I am a realtor, but I work with a lot of for sale by owners, and what I typically find is that the objections that I come up against is, I've sold several houses in the past and therefore I know how to do it, or I want to net the most money. I can't net the amount of money that I want if I pay your commission. I mean, if we really look at this objectively and statistically, what we find out is that for sale by owners statistically are making a considerable margin less than what realtors are bringing. So if you think the trade-off is, I won't get all of the services and yet I will get the money, that's typically not the case. The fundamental question that I have to ask to most for sale by owners is it really your perception that people who sell their home on their own make more money than people who sell their homes with a real estate professional? There are a ton of realtors out there that are providing an astounding level of value, and that will show up monetarily for you at the end of the transaction, whether you think that or not. 89% of buyers are represented by a real estate professional, and those clients of those realtors, by and large, are not looking at for sale by owner properties. For those for sale by owners that do actually successfully market their property and get it into contract, only 1 in 4 of those transactions actually makes it to the closing table. And yet with a realtor, 75% of transactions make it to the closing table. The cold hard fact is that for sale by owners do actually sell their properties for less money than what realtors get for them, which might not be a big deal. I mean, if you're making 1, 2, 3% less, then, maybe you saved the listing commission, but didn't you really end up with the same amount of money, but with more headache? I've heard plenty of for sale by owners who say, I've sold 5 houses in my lifetime, so I know how to do it. My response is anyone can sell their own house. The question is, did you get the highest market value in the shortest amount of time? As a for sale by owner, typically you have no way of knowing. The question becomes, is it really worth it to try to possibly get our home into contract and possibly get it to the closing table and possibly close it and possibly get market value? Or is it better to just go with a licensed professional who we know can get us the value that we want and pay them a fair commission on the way? The decision is obviously entirely up to you, but the point is it is worth it to explore both sides.